Maria Bartholdi joined by Paul Chian, and we are about to watch one of the undefeated players, Seth Manfield, draft Hour of Devastation and Amonkhet. Now, Seth, yesterday he went 3-0, of course, in his draft, and he drafted a rareless deck. He had no rares in his deck, started off kind of red-black, noticed that green was open and moved in later, which I think is really interesting. He had a very tough choice between something like a Thorned Malak and an Archfiend of Ifnir, right, and he went with just the common card, which I think is really cool.
And that's the interesting thing, again, about this format is, Seth Manfield had success. He just drafted a good mana curve, aggression, and he got there. Meanwhile, again, other players like Sam Black, Matt Severa, as we saw in other matches, they just have drafted 4 or 5 color nonsense, also managed to 3-0 their pods. So, really excited to see, what Seth brings to the table this time.
Let's take a look at his pod here. We just saw Paulo draft. That's where he's sitting, and we see Seth 3 seats away over here. So when you're kind of putting the picture together in your mind, this is where Seth was seated, and this is where Paulo was seated. And Paulo, as we know, we just saw him drafted blue-red spells. How was your take on his draft, Paul?
I think it went overall pretty well. I think he might have kind of forced the issue with, taking some of the blue cards, just kind of hindsight drafting. Obviously, it's a lot easier once we kind of look at how the packs go, but red seemed very open, but also green seemed incredibly open. So, I think if Paulo opted to draft again, he probably would have chosen to go into red-green. In the second pack, he did get a lot of payoff cards. The first pack, the draft was really, really messy. I was just like, oh my God, how is he going to salvage this? But pack 2 was incredible for him. So I think he has a solid deck, but, again, had he gone maybe into red-green, it might have been a little better.
If you're in Seth's seat, what are you most hoping to open?
If I'm in Seth's seat, what do I want to open? I probably want to open one of the many sweepers, Hour of Devastation, Hour of Revelation, and then try to draft a sweet 4 or 5 color control deck with it.
How about a Wrath of God? Would that do you?
Wrath of God? Yeah, you know what? I think I'd settle for a Wrath.
Okay, let's take a look at Seth Manfield's draft. Here we go. Pack 1, pick 1. Ooh, and there's a nice one. Crested Sunmare.
Yeah, I can't imagine any other card that could be in the pack that Seth would take over the Crested Sunmare. Just a fantastic, 5-mana 5/5, already a pretty decent effect. And there are incidental ways to gain life in the format. And if you ever just make 1 horse, you are just so far ahead. It's a really great combination, actually, with Dune Diviner, as it allows you to just kind of continue to gain life. But
that's really interesting. I hadn't thought of that. I just love the fact that we might be seeing some horse tokens out there.
Just an army of horses. Oh yeah, he's also kind of putting a lethal sting up there in the front, along with an unquenchable thirst. Reasonable removal effects, but the upside for the Crested Sunmare, especially first pick, first pack, you can just build around it and just have it do a lot of work for you.
How do you find white overall in Hour of Devastation?
I think it's definitely gotten weaker. White was generally considered to be the best color in Amonkhet, but just kind of, the colors have been kind of balanced a little bit more. I think white aggressive decks are still fine. He's putting a Dauntless Even here in the front. Maybe he'll just take that to just kind of cut off white because you want to kind of play your Crested Sunmare. Also, it's a really good card with all your Exert creatures. You can use it to untap. But, Torment of Venom, also just a very solid removal effect. And it looks like he's just going for the removal spell there instead of the Dauntless Haven, which is totally fine there.
And white-black is a strong color combination. I mean, you don't always know which way you're going this early in the draft, but if you were to choose it, it's kind of known for its zombie subtype.
Right, and also in white-black, you do have several incidental ways to gain life. You have lifelink creatures, you have Wayward Servant, which has a drain effect, which also allows you to gain life. So come on, Seth. Let's make some horses. Let's make some horsies.
I'm on the horse train too, Paul.
The horse wagon.
All right, let's take a look. Ambuscade, a color that he's not yet dipped his toe into the water with yet, but a very powerful card. Ruin Rat pulled to the front of the deck as well, which is black. What do you like here, Paul?
Yeah, I think Ambuscade is just head and shoulders better than all the other cards in the pack, so he's going to take it. It's, I think, kind of in contention for best common in the set. You have, of course, Ambuscade and Open Fire, and depending on who you ask, people would go with either of those cards.
Well, I'm asking you, Paul.
I actually like Ambuscade. I do like Ambuscade. I just like the fact that you can get a bigger creature, but green is considered to be a worse color. But I do like drafting those 4 or 5 color crazy decks, so Ambuscade usually makes my decks.
All right, let's take a look here at his 4th pick. He's got a Desert of the Glorified pulled to the front there. How critical are the black deserts?
I think just all the deserts are great. Just the fact that if you kind of look at Hour of Devastation as a whole, a lot of great playable cards. You usually don't have a shortage of playables, so the fact that you can take these lands early means that you're just always going to have kind of these lands that serve kind of utility, right? They cycle, And on top of that, you have cards that actually care about having deserts in your deck. So I think deserts have actually slowly been creeping further and further up in terms of like when you should be taking them. And I see lots of pros take them third, fourth, fifth pick.
All right, he's got an Oasis Ritualist, which is a card I really like pulled to the front, but also a Ketra's Avenger, which is a really fantastic 2-drop.
Yeah, Ketra's Avenger is just a premium 2-drop, one of the best commons in the set. And seeing it this late kind of tells me that white could potentially be open, so I would be looking to take that.
Solitary Camel still in the pack will maybe come back around for Seth. I mean, Life Gain, we mentioned it.
Does have the life
Crested
link.
Sunmare.
Yeah, and that is the type of card that you get kind of late. But again, like I said, lots of playables in the set. You know, you just get Solitary Camel's 13th or 14th pick, and if you have enough deserts, you're just kind of happy to put them in your deck.
Ooh, we've got a Vizier of the True and an Angel of the God Pharaoh pulled to the front here for Seth Manfield. So it does look like white is open.
Oh, white is super open. Vizier of the True is an amazing card if you're looking to be aggressive, and he's getting this, what, like 6th or 7th pick?
Yeah.
It's a really, really powerful card, and yeah, Seth should be thrilled to pick this up, you know, in conjunction with that Oketra's Avenger that he got right before.
Do you like Vizier of the True just on its own if he's not going into an exert strategy?
I think if you're looking to just attack any aggressive deck, that's just a very solid card. But yes, especially in kind of an aggressive exert deck, it is really, really, really strong.
All right, Oasis Ritualist once again at the front. We've got Kenra Eternal, which is a perfectly fine little 2-drop, as well as a Carrion Screecher and a Ruin Rat in his colors. Leave to chance. We're not going down that road. Sorry, BDM. Kenra Eternal is the pickup here with Afflict 1. You know, it sometimes is relevant in the late game.
Right. And the thing is, it's also a zombie. It's just an aggressive card. And Seth he did mention that he likes to attack. And while it looks like the black-white zombie deck is open, wow. He got that Kenra Eternal followed by the Mummy Paramount, picking up these premium 2-drops. I mean, this card's just fine. You're going to play it in a lot of decks. You know, oftentimes if you're white, you're going to have 2 or 3 zombies. But if you're black-white, if you can turn this thing on about like every other turn, you're getting a really good rate.
A 3/3 for 2 is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look here. A Lethal Sting still in the pack.
Yeah. Now this is a card that I had, you know, I rated a little bit higher when it first came out, but you know, it's still a solid removal spell. Sometimes you're going to run into an Archfiend of Ifnir, and you need to deal with it. And this is just, you know, still unconditional removal.
All right, let's take a look as he rounds out the picks in this pack. A couple of red cards left, a Defiant Kenra in the pack, a Crook of Condemnation. Maybe take that for standard a little bit later.
Yeah, he might need it for cyber. He might have lost it or something, you know. But yeah, so far the draft is going amazingly for Seth. You know, black and white do seem like the 2 open colors, and he's you know correctly reading the signals. And it's nice to be able to open a first pick mythic rare.
Oh yeah.
And then just have that color be open. That's the dream. Every Pro Tour.
Dutiful Servants and a Ruin Rat were the last 2 pickups for Seth here, still managing to stay in his colors even to the end.
Oh my!
Wow, Merciless Eternal. How do you like that card, Paul?
Again, in an aggressive strategy, it's a zombie. You know, it's incredibly hard to block. I mean, Seth has got to be thrilled with kind of the way his deck is shaping up right now. This is, I mean, it's looking at least at the beginnings of something that I would expect to 3-0 with.
Yeah.
Or hope to 3-0 with. I know no deck is actually a 3-0 deck, but at the very minimum, if I didn't go 2-1 with this deck, I'd be pretty upset because this deck so far basically has it all. He's got a little bit of removal, he's got a bunch of 2-drops, he's got the zombie synergies, you know, he's got a little bit of everything.
And he's got that amazing bomb there at the top and Crested Sunmare. I'm pretty excited. This is looking great. This is exactly what you want to have happen when you sit down on day 2 of Pro Tour. Just have the stars sort of align for you.
Exactly. And that's the thing with these Pro Tours. You know, Seth Manfield, Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa, just fantastic players, but takes a little bit of luck and skill to kind of make it to the top 8. So
luck, skill, and victory, perhaps?
Luck, skill, and victory. No, I don't. No. We'll just go with luck and skill.
Okay, fair enough. What are you looking to open to continue the strategy down the road here for Seth this pack?
Just a great black or white rare. You know, just might as well keep it going. Double up on Crested Sunmares. But yeah, again, you know, just. Taking a look at those packs, I don't think Seth actually passed a lot of, like, sometimes you have packs where you have 2 great white cards, 3 great black cards, and you're like, oh, God, I really hope the person I passed to didn't move into black.
Right.
I don't think that was really the case for Seth. So, you know, I'm just hoping that the person to my left is also not black-white, and I just kept getting fed good cards. How about a rare?
Wow. How about Hour of Glory? How does that sit with you?
Oh, yeah, you know what? A 4-mana unconditional removal spell, not bad. The Exile clause, very relevant as well, because we're living in a world with Embalm and Eternalize. So, yeah.
Wretched Camel in the pack might be kind of a consideration to see if you can get it on the wheel for Seth. That's something you've got to think about as well. You're not only thinking about what you take, but what you can expect to get back from these packs.
Absolutely. It's a zombie camel.
Yeah, zombie as well to pump up the Mummy Paramount. which, just going back a pack, Mummy Paramount is a card that I've been really impressed with. Sometimes you're like, what am I going to do? This thing's going to be a 3/3 consistently.
That's the thing. Like, if you just look at it in terms of just a tribe, like the black-white zombie deck, all the 2-drops are just so great, right? You have the Mummy Paramount, you have Binding Mummy in the last pack. When it just all comes together, I think black-white zombies is just one of the best archetypes in the format.
All right, we've got a Gideon's Defeat and a God Pharaoh's Faithful, but there's a Dauntless Save, and that's more what he's looking to pick up, as well as a Lethal Sting in this pack. Paul, what do you like?
I like the Dauntless Save in here if there's no other like great 2 or 3 drop creatures here. Just kind of looking. Gideon's Defeat is a great sideboard card, but Dauntless Haven does a lot of work. Oftentimes, black doesn't have Exert, but a lot of the white cards do. The fact that you can attack and exert with your Avenger, I imagine he's going to be taking the Dauntless Haven here. Again, like I said, if in an aggressive deck, I don't really like Lethal Sting. You want to be attacking. You don't want to be shrinking down your 2-drops to kill a creature most of the time.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was going to ask you, a lot of times we're just like, unconditional removal, we should take it for our decks.
Right. And he already has a Lethal Sting in his deck. I think they kind of don't stack up very well on top of each other. And he did pick up that Hour of Glory for the first pick. So, wow.
Here we go. Accursed Horde for Seth Manfield.
That is fantastic. I mean, he's black-white. He's going to be zombies, and that card just makes blocking basically impossible. There's another really powerful card in there in the Shafet Dunes. It is... It acts as a desert, and it just gives you the ability to pump your squad. Again, free utility lands. You've got to value those very highly. But I just can't imagine him taking the chance. He's like, nobody zombies, this is going to table. You just can't take that chance.
No, Accursed Horde, like you said, makes blocking a nightmare for your opponent.
Right.
And just slots in so nicely in what Seth has put together here.
I'm kind of jealous. Seth's deck looks really fun to play with already.
I kind of want to play it.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd let us borrow it after the draft?
It's like, hey, come on, can I just play against random pros with this? Yeah.
Torment of Venom is one of the cards that Seth opened up here.
Oh, he didn't table that camel that first time.
No, he didn't. I also noted that Solitary Camel is a pickup too. I mean, it looks like he's leaning towards the Venom here. There's a Demon in the pack as well, but nobody really likes that card.
Open Fire, Saving Grace, also very good cards. But of course, he's black-white. He's not going to take the Open Fire. He's just going to take that Torment Venom, just get another removal effect. And it's at instant speed as well, so you can use it as a trick sometimes to kill bigger creatures.
Is this his first Torment? I think that it is.
No. He took one second pick in the first pack. Yeah.
All right, so he's got 2 of those.
Yeah, he's got 2 Torments, a Lethal Sting, which probably won't even make the deck because he also has an Hour of Glory.
All right, another Kenra Eternal. And as we've been talking about kind of in this draft format, 2-drops at a premium because they're kind of hard to get.
Absolutely. And the thing is, this has just a lot of little extra text that makes it more desirable. You're looking to attack. It's got the Afflict. And, very importantly, especially for Seth's deck, it's a zombie.
All right, that's going to be the pickup.
Seth's deck, he's got a great mana curve, removal, and bombs. He's got it all so far.
Yeah, you've just got to be feeling great.
He just,
all business.
Just completely stone-faced.
Vile Manifestation pulled to the front here for Seth, as well as a Lurching Rot Beast, which how do you feel about that card?
I think it's an okay card. It's nice because it just cycles for 1 mana, and it is a zombie, so he could opt to take that. I don't think Vile Manifestation does a whole lot for him. He's already got a bunch of 2-drops, and he doesn't have a lot of cycling cards. I think Vile Manifestation, if you're looking to draft kind of the blue-black cycling deck, it is pretty good. It is, in my experience, oftentimes you'll have it as be it like a 2-mana 3/4.
Just Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, just Tarmogoyf. It's just Tarmogoyf. But of course, in Seth's deck, not really what he wants. And he's got a Wretched Camel here.
Wretched Camel would be a nice little pickup for Seth's deck in that 2-drop slot that we talked about. And like you mentioned, randomly a zombie.
Randomly a zombie, yeah. He currently only has 1 desert right now,
yeah.
So he might not opt to play it. But you are the zombie deck. Oftentimes in the last pack, you can get something like a Cradle of the Accursed, which makes zombies and also acts as a desert.
All right, like you mentioned, a lot of those green deserts coming around the table. Grizzly Survivor would be kind of just like, a last playable you might put into your deck.
His deck is so good. Unless he gets 0 playables in the last pack, I can't imagine him playing it. But he's taking a Speculative Traveler's Amulet in case he opens like a really good card that he would maybe want to splash. Because, with a Traveler's Amulet and a land of another color, bam, you have 2 sources.
In a deck like Seth, say he opens an amazing bomb rare, are you willing to sacrifice the consistency of your deck with something like just a Traveler's Amulet to play it?
I mean, it has to be really powerful and really easy to splash, which isn't common.
Right.
Something like an Hour of Glory, for example, he might want to consider. But Seth's deck is already just really high in terms of power level that I would guess that he would, if there's just like a playable 2 or 3 drop, he's likely just going to do that to round out his deck. He already talked about it yesterday, stay true to the course, take the Thresher Lizard or what have you over the Archfiend because, look, I'm just going to curve out and hope my opponents don't play bombs.
All right.
Oh,
here we've
and
got
that
the
Saving Grace
Saving
tabled.
Grace.
Kentaro Yamamoto yesterday splashed this card. So
Really?
a lot of teams could really, really high on this card, but it looks like maybe the players in this draft not so much.
Carrion Screecher is going to be the pickup for Seth.
A last pick Hippo?
Hippo.
How does that happen?
I don't know. No
How does
respect.
that- No respect for the Hippo. In yesterday's draft, people were taking it second or third pick.
I mean, it's a
Wow.
5/6 with trample.
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, Seth had to take, again, like I said, lots of playables, and that Carrion Screecher, you know, its body is okay. It's an evasive creature. It's a 3-power creature for 4 mana, but very important keyword again, zombie.
Yes.
So, yeah, what Seth's looking to kind of open in that last pack, he wants, you know, all the zombie payoff cards. We have, of course, Binding Mummy at common, Lord of the Accursed, Liliana's Mastery.
Yes.
Why not? And of course, Wayward Servant. Those are the cards that he's really, really looking to open. But, you know, even if he doesn't, his deck is looking really, really powerful right now. So, yeah. Things are
2-pack
look-
deck, Paul?
It's one of those. It's one of those.
You
So-
know, I've noticed that the Zombies synergy, I think the Zombies deck has gotten better with the addition of Hour. Would you agree?
There are a lot of like good 2-drops. It's hard to say because I think the Windmill Slam bombs in the zombie deck kind of come out of Amonkhet. You have, of course, like the Lord of the Accursed and the Liliana's Mastery. So I think it's kind of close. I actually think I might prefer Amonkhet just because of the again, the power level of the uncommons and the rares that you can get for the zombie synergies.
Scrounger of Souls, do you think this makes the cut because of its lifelink?
Yeah, I think he's like considering it for the time being because of the lifelink. He kind of wants to live the dream and turn on that the Crested Sunmare. I don't think he has too many ways to gain life right now.
Right.
So again, I think, yeah, actually of all the zombies that he might want to open, I mean, okay, let's be real. Lord of the Accursed, the Anthem effects are always the best, but Wayward Servant, he really, really wants that Wayward Servant.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
he does.
And the thing is, it looks like nobody else is in White Black Zombies, and if that's the case, he's going to just get it 5th or 6th pick.
All right, well, let's see what he has opened here as we head into our final pack. Seth Manfield undefeated here in day 2, Pro Tour.
Wayward Servant.
Wayward
There's the Binding Mummy.
Binding Mummy.
Yeah, got to be happy with that. And the thing is, if you look at this pack, there's a time to reflect, but I think I would opt to take the Binding Mummy. The only deck that's going to play a time to reflect is an super heavy zombie deck. Now, if you are playing a zombie deck with 13 or 14 zombies, it's actually a very, very good card, but you just can't pass up on a Binding Mummy here. He has
No.
Yeah, it's so good.
Binding Mummy
It's
is
a mythic
in fact the
common
pick.
for his deck.
Mythic common.
Yeah, it's a mythic common for sure.
All right, then. Seth definitely going to pick that card. Binding Mummy, we're going to keep time to reflect in mind as it could potentially find its way back.
Yeah, I think it's really, really likely to table for Seth.
Nobody else seems to be in this strategy right now.
No, I mean, white especially seemed, actually both white and black seemed pretty open, at least in Seth's seat. So we'll see what.
Ooh, there's another one.
Binding Mummy.
If one is
my
good, well, I'll
goodness.
take 2.
Yeah, wow. He's got so many of the great 2-mana zombie. Wow. I don't even have to look at the other people's decks. I'm just gonna go on a limb. I think Seth is the one here favorite to 3-0 this pot.
Ooh, all right.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction, but I'm inclined to agree with you. This deck
Yeah.
is sick.
Yeah, this deck is great.
Nothing else really a consideration for him in this
Right,
pack.
right,
There's like
exactly.
a Scarab Feast somewhere in the back.
Yeah, there's a bunch of reasonable cards for all the other decks. I mean, there's a Painted Bluffs if he really wants to find another desert, but yeah, nothing.
Yeah, he didn't get
eerily-
any of those solitary camels.
Just two mythic commons back to back. Wow.
No big deal. Seth's
Right.
poker face right there.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here at his 3rd pick from the last pack. Cradle of the Curse. You did mention.
Oh.
Ooh, Devoted Crop Mate and
Trial
Trial of
of
Solidarity.
Oh yeah.
I love this
He's gonna
card.
be really, really happy to pick this one up. Now the trials have gotten a little bit worse because you can't do the silly things where you have trials and multiple cartouches because of course you only have 1 pack of it. But you know, trial is still just a nice way to pump up your squad. Although it's a little bit strange because Seth doesn't have that many exert cards. It's at its best in like green white, for example, where you
Sure.
have a ton of exert effects. You know, if Seth gets something like a and now at this point, Seth is really looking to pick up a cartouche to be able to abuse this because it's a decent Anthem effect. You know, he's got to be happy to pick it up. But
Aven
let's see if we
Mind
see any-
Sensor here. We've got a Festering Mummy, Those Who Serve.
Yeah. Even Mind Sensor, for the most part, just a 3-mana 2-1. I think he's more likely to just take one of the zombies here. Those are served. Fine body, 3-mana 2-4. Probably going to be taking that. Festering Mummy is kind of more of a sideboard option.
Yeah, his deck already just super solid, so Seth is just looking to either bump up a card quality if he can at this point.
Yeah. He's looking for slight upgrades at this point. The last couple of picks haven't been the most exciting. So let's see if we. Oh, and there it is.
There it
Actually,
is.
you got. Wow.
Cartouche of Solidarity.
Oh man,
at the
he's
front.
got to be thrilled to pick up that cartouche.
And
to go with the
in
trial.
catcher's name is right behind it.
Right. There isn't an Inno Catcher's name, but that's again the type of card. If nobody else is in zombies, you're just going to wield that card.
Wow. Oh, I'm going to be so interested to see if that
wow.
comes back around. This is an
Right.
amazing pickup for Seth's deck.
It is pretty late, so if he gets it back, it's going to be with like 2 or 3 cards left in the pack. So.
Okay. Chances are low, but we'll see. I can't tell you, Paul, there's nothing I like more than Trial of Solidarity, Cartouche of Solidarity, and there's another trial.
Yeah, there is another trial, and there's also a Blighted Bat. Now, he's got a cartouche. He might feel like he might be a little bit light on cheap removal, so the Trial of Ambition does work. But he's also an aggressive deck. In Blighted Bat, nice with it's a zombie. You can play turn 3 with a Binding Mummy, tap a blocker down, or use it for haste. So it looks like he's just opting for the more aggressive card here.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So last few picks here for Seth. We've got a Grim Strider, which is probably not going to make the cut.
I mean,
Unburden.
Yeah. It's possible that it does if his curve is low enough. We did see that he has a ton of 2-drops in his deck. So if he feels like he can empty out his hand in a reasonable manner, Grim Strider is still a pretty big creature. So he might play it, but who knows? His deck is just so great. So.
It's just so good. I've seen a Grim Strider actually die to the fact that there's too many cards in hand for somebody who wants.
That's
not really.
You're just not doing
at
it
this
right
level,
if that
but
happens. Yeah.
Blighted Bat up near the front here for Seth. We've got a Desert in the pack as well, but he's kind of not really too concerned about that at this point.
Yeah, Seth just has a really nice hyper-aggressive zombie deck going here. Great mana curve, good removal, and a couple of bombs as well.
Taking a look here at some of the last few cards, nothing much for him. We've got a Quarry Hauler, a Scarab Feast. At this point, are you considering taking something from your opponents, or are you just still going to take? Yeah,
the thing is, a card like Scarab Feast is just really unlikely to be boarded in. So it looks like that's what he did. He hate drafted Heckma Sentinels. There were actually other creatures that are generally considered better. But it looks like he hated that because he's got a lot of 2-mana 2/3s.
He's got to get through those.
Right, so 3-mana 2/3. He's like, nope. Don't want to see that one. Don't want to see that one.
He took an Aven Initiate there.
All right, are we going to see?
Cat.
Are we going to see that Inno Catcher's name?
Okay, I think it's about time.
We're getting
Paul.
very close to the point where we might see that. Okay.
Festering Mummy.
All right, nice little sideboard card.
Yeah, Sacred Cat. I'm interested to see if he plays.
You're going to need a lot of synergies to play that. I highly doubt it's going to actually end up in his deck, but it looks like somebody took the Inno Catcher's name.
All right, well, there you have it. Seth Manfield, one of our last 2 undefeated players, his draft here on day 2. Paul, what do you grade this deck?
I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give it an A. I think it just all came together. His deck was fantastic in the first 2 packs. I think actually the pack 3 was a little bit disappointing. I thought it was going to be a little bit better. He did start out with a couple of Binding Mummies, a Cartouche, and a Trial, but everything else was kind of filler. But I mean, he's still got to be super excited.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
His deck is just completely bonkers. And again, really, I feel like he should be one of the few ways he loses: sweepers or Mana Screw. His deck is that good, I think.
All right, well, we're going to get a chance to see this deck in action pretty soon coming up. But first, these messages.